Hello, happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining us this afternoon for our Legal Support Center for Advocates presentation, Understanding the Importance of Advanced Planning. So we wanted to have this presentation just to give the basics of some advanced planning documents, and also to talk about our clinic that we're going to be having with our Suffolk County Pro Bono project for folks who are eligible in Suffolk County. So just a few housekeeping. If you could just keep your microphone muted so that way we don't hear any other noise. If you do have a question, just put it in the chat. We're just going to be limiting questions to general questions. If you have any specific questions about specific scenarios, that's really would be more appropriate for after the presentation. You could call our Legal Support Center for Advocates and talk to Kathy or Hannah. So any specifics should really be going to Kathy or Hannah after the presentation. Also, we're going to have one or two polls during the presentation. We appreciate participation just to make it more fun. And then because it's Friday the 13th, I have nominated Kathy to have some fun Friday the 13th questions, just to keep it lively. Okay, so some of you may already know this. If not, then surprise, we're changing our name. We're going to be, as of next week, we are officially transitioning to changing our name to Legal Services of Long Island. So if you see our new name, Legal Services of Long Island, just be aware that that's still Nassau Suffolk Law Services, just under its new name. We did that for a lot of reasons. One of the big reasons is because we don't want to be confused as a government agency, and also because a lot of organizations throughout the country who are similar to us are known as legal services of whatever county or area they're in. So we wanted to be more consistent. So just be aware of that, and please be patient with us during our transition phase. So if you're unfamiliar with Nassau Suffolk Law Services, soon to be Legal Services of Long Island, we are Long Island's largest legal services provider of free civil legal services. We handle over 6,000 cases every year. That includes direct representation, phone consultations, brief services, referrals to other agencies. We have offices in Hempstead, Islandia, and Riverhead. And our case handling staff include attorneys, paralegals, and social workers as well. And we do have partnerships with other agencies such as Empire Justice or others. These are our 3 offices and phone numbers. If you need to make a referral for a client, it's better to send them to the office that they're closest to. So Nassau County would go to Hempstead, and then either Atlantic.
Sharon, you're on mute.
That's weird.
And also, I may be crazy, but I feel like I keep seeing just a housekeeping slide. So I don't know if I don't know if it's not moving to where you're at with the phone numbers.
Yeah,
it's not moving.
The screen's not moving.
Oh, that's weird. Okay, so let me try and fix that then. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Okay, can you see it says programs?
Yes, you're on the right screen now.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we have over 20 different programs throughout Long Island. Our family program is really focused in Suffolk County, our domestic violence unit, our child support defense unit. We have multiple different disability and health related units, included our mental health law project, our HIV/AIDS project, our education disability rights project, amongst some others. If you ever have any questions about like what these different units do, we do have a YouTube channel that goes through all of the different units, but also it's on our website. We have descriptions of all of the programs, or of course you could call up Kathy or Hannah to ask them about, if there's a case or a client situation that we would handle. We have a huge housing unit in both counties that help out with eviction prevention or foreclosure defense project. And then other areas such as consumer debt, which is, I do supervise the Suffolk County Consumer Debt Unit, and veterans' rights. We also have a senior citizen law project in Nassau County and some other areas of law as well. So next, we're going to the Legal Support Center for Advocates. So I'll let Kathy talk about that with you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday the 13th. I'm going to just talk for a few minutes about the Legal Support Center for Advocates. So we are here for advocates in any way. If you need information, if you need the technical, we're technical supporters for all of you. Even if you have questions about what we handle, what we don't handle, little things, anything that comes up with your client that you're a little confused about, we can help try to decipher. We host trainings, we publish the newsletters. So always feel free to call us. Though our name is changing, our numbers are the same. And you can call me at my extension at 3324. And if there's any way that we can help, we will help you. And we'll put a packet together with the type of issue your client's having. We may do an internal referral within law services. We'll be able to refer you outside our agency if it's something we don't handle. 99.9% of the time, we have a referral for you outside our agency. So please call me. I feel like I don't hear from anybody anymore. Although I do see a few of my groupies in the attendance. So hello, groupies. I'll be back later with Friday the 13th trivia. See you then.
Thanks, Kathy. And then, of course, also we have our website. If you go to our NS Law Services website, when we change to our new website next week, don't worry, everything's going to be redirected. If you're emailing us at our old email, once again, everything's going to be redirected. So you don't need to worry about, not having stuff get to us. Okay, so we have lots of self-help resources on our website. You can sign up for our emails where I send out my advocacy tips every month, future trainings and just, all kinds of different information that's specific to Long Island and, legal rights. Okay, so first up, we're going to do 2 polls, just general polls, not the trivia again. I know you're all excited for the trivia. So let's see. Now, if I can figure out how to do this, I've done it before. Hopefully they didn't change it on me. Okay. So what type of advocate are you? So I'm going to launch this poll. So what type of advocate are you? Social worker, attorney, nonprofit employee, government agency employee, elected official, church volunteer, law student, paralegal, self-advocate, or other, just to get an idea of who we have with us today. And thank you for participating. All right, so I'll just give you another few seconds. Okay, great. So we're going to end the poll and I'll share the results, everyone. So we have about a good amount of attorneys with us today, nonprofit employees of government agencies, some self-advocates, paralegal, and others. So thanks so much for joining us. And our next poll, let me get to the next one. Nope, what happened here? The next poll is, have you ever called the Legal Support Center for Advocates? So feel free to go ahead and answer that. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll, share the results. So we have a few people who have Kathy on speed dial. So welcome back. Some of you are already familiar with Legal Support Center, call us a few times, have calls once in a while. And some of you, it's the first time learning about the Legal Support Center for Advocates. So I'm so happy that you're here today and that you can learn about this service for you. All right. So just a little note, information that we're giving out today is legal information. We always try our best to keep all of our materials up to date. Legal advice depends on each individual's situation, and the materials that we're giving today cannot be replaced by advice of a competent legal attorney. So just keep that in mind. And then on the agenda, we're going to talk about 4 different documents that can be used in advanced planning. Power of attorney, healthcare proxy, appointment of agent to control disposition of remains, standby guardian, and then we're going to talk about the clinic that's coming up. And I just realized I put that in the incorrect order, so it's not going to go in that order. So I apologize. It's actually healthcare proxy is first. It's been a crazy week. And then just a little, when I email you all out the updated materials after the presentation, then also probably next week we'll be able to get a recording for you. But we'll also send you this flyer that you can, pass around to other people at your agencies or to potential clients. So just advertising our advanced planning legal clinic that we have coming up in October, which Kirsten, our coordinator for the Suffolk County Pro Bono Project, will be talking about at the end of the presentation. Okay, so Kathy, take it away, and then I'll put up the poll for you.
Okay, it's trivia time. I love trivia, so please play along with me. Being afraid of Friday the 13th is called what? Everybody's going to answer in the chat. Oh, right? Or the poll. Answer in the poll. Very interesting. Very interesting. Because I would have gotten this one wrong. But we have, the poll is there, it's shared. And the answer is, I can't even pronounce it. I don't want to curse. Frigatriskaidekaphobia. If anybody knows how to pronounce it, take a shot at it. Unmute yourself for 2 seconds and take a shot at it. I always thought it was the other one. So the ones that we only got, unfortunately, 35% got the right answer. But thank you for playing along.
Yes, frigatriskaidekaphobia. Interesting. All right, so thanks so much, Kathy. So first off, we're going to talk about healthcare proxies. This is a very important legal document. It is something that allows a person, also known as a principal, to appoint someone they trust, an agent, to make medical decisions for them, if and only if they cannot make decisions for themselves. So this would be something where they were, incapacitated and they couldn't make a healthcare decision for themselves. Of course, it only takes effect in the event that a doctor certifies in writing that a principal lacks capacity to make their own healthcare decisions. And you can only have one proxy at a time. You can have an alternate in the event the primary proxy can't perform their duties, but you can only have one proxy at a time. So that way there's no arguing. So now, if you don't have a healthcare proxy, this is why it's important for people to have a healthcare proxy, because if you don't have one, then it goes to the law. So for medical decision making, if a person hasn't appointed a healthcare agent, then the law, which is under New York Public Health Law, it states that if they are admitted to a hospital or a nursing home, then the following people will make decisions for them. So if there's a court-appointed guardian, if the person has a spouse or a domestic partner, their son or daughter who is 18 years or older, a parent, a brother, a sister or brother who's 18 years or older, or a close friend. So if you're someone who doesn't, want to exactly go in that order or cause friction amongst your family, then it would definitely be important to have a healthcare proxy. So just some limitations of that decision, of that Family Healthcare Decisions Act. It's limited in application. There's only certain individuals who can be a surrogate for the principal, and it can lead to confusion as well among family members. So that's why it's beneficial to have a proxy, because you can choose someone even if it's a non-family member. And the person can control your medical treatment and you can avoid delay. When there's multiple people involved in the decision makings, there can be delay in the medical decisions happening. And who should have a healthcare proxy? Everyone really should. In fact, I have my own that I created in law school. So, it is important, and it's fairly simple to do. But you definitely should have it if you're elderly or if you have a progressive disease or illness. Now, it's always, and I was telling Kathy the story earlier, and I thought I'd tell it just for laughs. But it is important to have someone who you trust as your healthcare proxy, and someone who you think will actually, you talk about the decisions that you want for your healthcare, and will actually do what you ask. Now, I always joke around, everyone has, I have a father-in-law. I call him Grandpa Sal, I call him. And we like to tease each other. And he's always complaining because, his wife wants to live forever. She wants to live until the end of days. She doesn't want to be taken off life support. Like, she wants to go on and on and on. And he always complains about that. And he says, he wants to, doesn't want to be on life support, doesn't want to do this. And he says, keeps on complaining about how his wife will just make him live forever. And he doesn't want to live forever. And I said, well, Grandpa, if you don't want to live forever, you should just make me your healthcare proxy. Because, I'll definitely, have your decisions made and not make you live forever. So it's just kind of us teasing back and forth, but it is kind of funny. But so just to give you an example of why it's important to have someone who you trust, and also someone who actually will do the medical care decisions that you want them to do. Okay, so next question. Go ahead, Kathy.
Okay, we're ready for trivia again. Friday the 13th trivia. I try to do that, wah, ha, 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 but I'm not good at scaring people. What is the maximum number of Friday the 13th that can occur during a calendar year? Okay. I'm impressed that most of the people knew this. 58% of the people got it right. 2 per calendar year. I'm sure there's some math involved with that, with 365 days, 12 months, 13 comes in once, but congratulations, because this second one, 58% got right. It's 2 per calendar year.
Very good. Awesome. Okay, so next we're going to talk about a power of attorney. So I'm sure most people know what a power of attorney is, but we'll go over it. It's people are always talking about power of attorney for different things. But power of attorney is a document in which a person, once again, the principal, authorizes someone they trust. That's very important. You'll see the theme here. Someone has to be someone that you trust, who's known as the agent, to manage their financial and banking matters during the lifetime of the principal. So definitely important to remember the power of attorney, especially the one that we're doing at our clinic, is effective as soon as the agent signs it in front of a notary public. It's not triggered by the loss of capacity. So this is a powerful document. And once again, the principal should trust their agents completely. You don't want, because this is, regarding financials mostly. It can be revoked at any time when the principal is competent. And they're not signing away their decision-making rights. So that's important to remember as well. And it's only effective during the lifetime of a principal. So once the principal passes away, the power of attorney is no longer in effect. And this is also very important. The principal has to do this when they actually have capacity. If they lack capacity to understand the power of attorney, they cannot create a power of attorney. So like, I give an example. My husband and I had a friend whose father had cancer, and he had terminal cancer, and he was in his last, few months. And some days he had capacity and some days he didn't. So we were there and served as witnesses on a day when he did have capacity, and an attorney came to have the power of attorney signed for his wife. So it's definitely important. They do have to have capacity when they're signing a power of attorney. So the form that we are going to be doing during our clinic is the statutory short form, which is called the durable form. It's not affected by the incapacity of a principal, meaning like once a principal becomes incapacitated, the power of attorney is still in effect. Financial institutions and other third parties must accept the properly drafted original or the attorney certified copy. If a financial institution rejects a power of attorney, it must do so within 10 days of receipt and provide a valid reason in writing to the principal and the agent. And if they unreasonably refuse to accept the power of attorney, it can be sued. And under the new law, the petitioner can be awarded damages and attorney fees. Now, why is this important? Because sometimes within the last few years, New York State did have a new form that is supposed to be more acceptable to financial institutions. Because in the past, what would happen is a financial institution, even if someone had a power of attorney that was completely legal, the banks would not accept it and they would make the person do this whole new form. So that's why this is in here, and this is why it's important. So a principal must be 18 years old. We talked about capacity. It's determined at the time of signing, like when our friend's father, he had capacity on that day. The principal must understand the nature and the consequences of the act of executing and granting, revoking, amending, or modifying a power of attorney. They have to understand any provision in the power of attorney or the authority of any person to act as an agent under a power of authority. So they have to understand what they're actually signing. The agents have to be at least 18 years old. The agent owes a fiduciary duty to the principal and must act according to the principal's instructions or in the principal's best interest, and they have to avoid conflicts of interest. So the fiduciary duty is very important. Some people don't understand that when they are an agent. I've had clients in the past where they were serving as power of attorney for their parent who was in a nursing home, and the child was, instead of paying the nursing home bills for their parent, was paying their own bills. Now that is not serving as fiduciary, and they can get a lot of trouble for that. So that's why it's very important for an agent to understand what their duties are towards the principal. So I just put in here just a sample of what type of authority that can be granted. Not everything has to be granted. It could just be a few, it could be all, could be one. So just going over a few different things that could be granted. Real estate transactions, chattel and goods transactions, bond share, commodity transaction, banking, business operating transactions, insurance transactions, estate transactions, claims and litigation. Something to remember for powers of attorney: they can't serve as your attorneys if you are in court. You still have to have an attorney. You can't have your power of attorney go and serve. You can't act pro se and be like, well, my power of attorney is going into court for me to represent me. That doesn't work like that. You can't do that. So just something to remember. They can sign off on certain legal documents for you, but they can't actually represent you in court. So we have personal and family maintenance, benefits from governmental programs, matters related to healthcare, such as now, this does not replace a healthcare proxy. That's important to remember. Power of attorney is not a healthcare proxy, but they can do certain things as far as like payments for healthcare, retirement benefit transactions, tax matters, any other matters that you specify, full and unqualified authority. So you can do like certain delegations. And then, just like I said, you can just limit it. You can give them all authority. So whatever you choose. So most of the time, people who need a power of attorney are people who are elderly. They need assistance with their financial decisions. Maybe they have a serious disability or injury. It could be permanent, it could be temporary. Persons who are in nursing homes, persons with risky jobs. There's a variety of reasons why someone might need a power of attorney. But the most important part, they have to be competent at time of signing, and it should be someone that they trust. All right, so next we have another Friday the 13th question. So Kathy, you just have to unmute yourself.
Okay, during the sessions, Kirsten, the pro bono coordinator, said that the answer is wrong, that there's actually, it can happen 3 times a year, the Friday the 13th. So everybody I said that was correct. We have a fact checker here. I just got these questions online, so everybody that said 2 times, 3 times. All right, next question. This is a particular question. Which president was especially superstitious of the holiday, avoiding 13 guests at meals and traveling on the 13th day of any month? Okay. All right.
71% participation. So should we wait another second or two?
Yeah, let's wait. Let's wait.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Nope, everybody's answering. Doesn't everybody love a good trivia? Got to come to my spin class. I do trivia in spin class too. I give out prizes there. You get scratch offs if you get the right answer.
All right, I ended the poll. No one can.
Okay, the poll has ended. 48% of you were right. FDR, very superstitious. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so next we're going to talk about an appointment of agent to control disposition of remains. So this is just a very simple form that folks can fill out to appoint someone to take care of their remains, and they can also give directions on what to do with their remains. This can also be done in a will, but this is all, not everyone can afford to create a will, or maybe they don't have the time or whatever it is, or maybe, something came up, who knows, but this is just a very simple form that people can fill out to appoint someone to take care of their remains and give directions as to what to do. Now, the default is that New York law does provide an order within which persons may handle the person's remains. So, of course, whoever's appointed will make decisions for you, and funding through your state will be fine to pay for that. And the people who I have the order on there, but of course it's always the spouse or the domestic partner, any children who are over 18, a guardian, or a fiduciary of the estate. So they will find the funding and, bury you however they see fit if you haven't given any directions. Now, if you haven't given any directions and maybe you don't have any money or whatever it may be, the local public administrator will handle, how the appointment goes, which we just talked about. And the funeral costs will get paid before the creditors of the estate. And if there's no funds to be found at all, everyone should be aware that Department of Social Services doesn't have an application that can be filled out to get some kind of burial, but it's typically only cremation. And I mean, anyone really can fill out this document, but most of the time it might be by someone who maybe doesn't have any family members, that they're close with. Maybe they have a friend that they would prefer to handle this. So that would typically be a situation where someone might complete this form, but really anyone can complete it. There's no restrictions. Okay, number 4.
All right, we're on to the 4th question. Which pop star considers the number 13 her lucky number? I don't see the poll yet, Sharon.
I don't know what's going on. It's not letting me launch it. So for some reason, it's not letting me launch it. So if someone wants to call out who they think it is or put their hand up or put it in the chat.
Okay, Melissa's the first one. Oh, everybody looks like they're getting it right. It is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift. A lot of Swifties in this group. Look, Taylor. Very good. A lot of people getting it right. A lot of people getting it right.
Oh, and now, of course, I figured out why. So, so next time I figured out why the
I
poll
feel
was.
like somebody's haunting this PowerPoint.
Yeah,
this
it's Friday the
training.
15th. So there's definitely some hauntings happening here. I was on mute. I apologize. So next up is a standby guardian. This is the last document that we will be assisting with at our advanced planning clinic coming up in October. So what is a standby guardian? So this is a form that folks can fill out that allows parents and caretakers to designate or seek a court appointment of a guardian who will only assume guardianship if a particular event occurs. So there's specific triggering events that need to occur in order for this temporary standby guardianship to take place. Originally, and actually our executive director was involved in the creation of this law, but it was originally designed for parents who are progressively chronically ill or had some kind of fatal illness. And that was one of the triggering events, like if they became incapacitated or they passed away as a result of their physical debilitation and concurrent and the consent of the parent. Now, in 2018, they did add to the law. It was amended to include immigrants who are at risk of being separated from their children, and the triggering event in that situation would be administrative separation and the parent's consent. So who can appoint? Parents, legal guardians, legal custodians, primary caretakers. Some of the benefits of a standby guardianship is the parent does not give up their own rights. So they still have, rights to being a parent. And even when the guardian's authority is commenced. So the parent maintains concurrent authority with the standby guardian. It only goes into effect when the parent is actually unable to care for the children. So other benefits, plans can be made in advance of the time rather than an emergency. That's definitely important. We don't, because there could be situations where, it's too late to make that plan. And it gives the opportunity to deal with the potential legal issues such as an unfit non-custodial parent while the parent is available to participate. So a lot of situations that were coming up when this law was being created is there were unfit parents. For example, maybe they were in jail or perhaps they were drug users and unfit in some way. So that was one of the other reasons why people might do this, is because they are very ill and the other parent is at the time currently wouldn't be able to take care of a child. So the standby guardian does not have any legal decision-making power over the children until the triggering event actually occurs. Until then, the parent retains full decision-making power. It's just they're just standing by until they're needed. There's two ways of doing this. It's by written designation, which is what we will be assisting with, or petitioning for a court appointment. So we're not going to go into all of the details on how to do that. But right now we're just focusing on the written designation. So it just is a pretty simple form to enable parents to name a standby guardian or an alternate standby guardian to care for the children if the triggering event occurs. And if the triggering event does occur, then the person who's the standby guardian can actually file for permanent guardianship, and they can use the designation in any future petition for guardianship. This also expresses the parent's wishes to the court, conveys information about why it's the child's best interest for this person to be appointed guardian. And it also can explain why the other parent should not or cannot be guardian. So it can also set forth special needs of the children. Like I said, like I've repeated, the guardianship automatically goes into effect when the standby guardian excuse me, when the triggering event occurs. I have to edit that. It should say the triggering event occurs. And they do have to go to court if they want to get permanent guardianship or petition for legal guardianship. They do need to go to court within 60 days. But only the court itself can actually appoint permanent guardianship. So who can use this form? If you are the parent or legal guardian of a minor, you may want to set up a standby guardianship if you're worried about being arrested, being imprisoned, deported, a mental impairment, a disability, or a death in the future. Okay, and last trivia question, then we're going to go a little bit more over the details of the clinic.
Okay, some Spanish-speaking countries have a fear of a different day of the week. Have a fear of a different day of the week when it falls on the 13th. What is that day? Which one is it? Looks like everybody participated. Most people participated. Those who guessed Tuesday, you are correct. Only 21% of you got that answer right. But it's all good. It's all in fun, all in fun.
All right. Now I'm going to pass it off to Kirsten Bartolotta, who is our current pro bono coordinator for our Suffolk County Pro Bono Project.
Hi, everybody. And I'm sorry, Kathy, I corrected you, but I was born on the 13th and it is my lucky number, like Taylor. So that's why I got involved. So I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
So thank you, everybody, for coming to this. And I just wanted to give an overview of next steps. Now that Sharon gave you an idea of what we will be having help, we'll have attorneys at what we call a clinic, helping clients who are eligible to get those documents done. So as you're working and meeting with your clients, you might be able to identify someone that might need this kind of help. So the process is that the client would call us before, we're hoping before October 14th of 2024. There's the number. That extension is a recording. Someone named Nancy will have her name on it. And your clients can leave a message that they're calling about the advanced planning clinic, or they heard about a healthcare proxy they need or power of attorney. But if they don't say anything about those words, it's fine. We call everybody back within 24 hours, 48 hours, and we'll get back to them. After they leave a message, can you go to the, yeah, thank you. We call them back to determine next steps. And what we do is we want to determine eligibility. We can send them an eligibility packet by mail, or we can have them come in and help them fill it out. And we walk through the process, and it is based on income and assets that have been determined by our program. The clients will fill out that paperwork. We ask them for certain documents. We just put a couple of examples of what we ask for proof. This may not apply to your clients. It depends on each case. And again, we really try to support people that are trying to determine eligibility. But if you are talking to clients about it, there is that eligibility requirement. We will be asking them for documents. So we wanted to just give you some examples of what we would be asking from them. And then once we determine eligibility, we'll prepare them for what that clinic is. We'll give them the date, which is October 23rd. We don't want to confuse clients because we need them to do that eligibility before the 14th. But then we try to be very clear in our communication. You're eligible, you can come in. We're going to have attorneys that will do this for free, for no charge for you, and get the paperwork done on October 23rd during that time period at our Islandia office. If somebody is not eligible, we will refer them to some other ways or paths that could help them to get this paperwork done. So if you have any questions, I think you reach out to our advocates group, Kathy, in relation to any clients that you you need some clarity with, but otherwise you can send them to that number. And I think, is that number on the flyer that everyone's getting, right, Sharon?
Yes, everyone will get the flyer.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you attending today. Definitely check out our website, nslawservices.org. It will be if you go to that link next week, it's going to be redirected to our new website, which is legalservicesli.org. Our social media handles right now will stay the same, and then you'll see if you do follow us, you'll see we'll be transitioning to our new handles as well. And then after this presentation, if you don't mind completing the survey that pops up, I'd really appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions right now? Okay, great. Well, you can always email me afterwards. That's not a problem, and I appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a happy Friday the 13th, and share those trivia questions with folks. All right, thank you, everyone.